You know, Dave, I gotta say that I love the Ranger and that sweet animal companion.
Ted, are you kidding me? The 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Ranger has the worst companion in the game.
But come on, man, the Ranger at 15th level has the ability to share spells with their beast companion.
Other classes in 5e D&D do it sooner, and they do it better.
How is that even possible?
Let's discuss Dungeons & Dragons killer combos for your beast companions. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Hey, is this your first time hanging out in Ted's basement? It's a place where we like to discuss news, views, and homebrews for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes we talk about other role-playing games.
If you don't want to miss a single video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and attune to that notification bell.
All right, so in this edition of Killer Combos, Overpowered Combinations for Dungeons & Dragons, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it, we're going to be looking at specifically Bard, but we're going to probably drill down and go with the Lure Bard. But you could probably finagle this with some other versions.
All right, so now the idea here is that you want to be able to have a companion that you're making better, right?
Exactly, right? The problem with the Beast Companion for the Ranger is it's not very good to start with, and then you have to be a really high level to make it better. But not only that, you don't actually have access to all the things you really need to make it better. So we actually found a better way of doing it.
Let's dive down into this process.
The reason why we need to go with Bard is because we want to access those sweet, sweet magical secrets.
Magical secrets is going to allow us to take spells from other class lists, and for what we're doing here, it's going to be a very particular type of bard that this would work for. But what you wind up doing is you wind up making a character that is just going to have an unrivaled animal companion.
All right, so you could literally build this off of 2 spells if you wanted to. But we're like, hey, there's some other things we can do. So primarily, the spell that we absolutely need is Find Steed. But not just find any steed, we want Find Greater Steed.
So Find Greater Steed is going to allow us to choose a more powerful option. So by the time that you're getting access to this, you're choosing something that is going to be far superior than whatever the Ranger is going to be able to have as an animal companion. And because it's a steed, it's not acting as a portion of your turn. It's going to act on your turn and get its full allotment of abilities.
Now, you're not going to be able to get Find Greater Steed until 10th level as a bard, but that's actually a couple levels sooner than the paladin can get it. So that's really cool. And it's at 14th level that we're going to actually complete our 2-spell combo. And then we're going to talk about the other things we're going to add in there. So first of all, let's mention the steeds that you can get with Find Greater Steed.
All right, so we have a number of options. You've got, a Pegasus, you've got a Griffin, you've got a Dire Wolf, but the things that we're really, dialing down on are going to be the Rhinoceros and the Saber-Toothed Tiger.
Absolutely, and the reason why is what we're building up to is Tensor's Transformation, because the cool thing about Find Greater Steed is when you cast the spell on that targets just you, you can then also put it on your mount as well.
As long as you are mounted when you cast that spell.
Yes, absolutely. So the idea of you kind of battle raging while you're riding your Rhinoceros or your Saber-Toothed Tiger is really awesome. Now, the reason why we excluded some of the other choices is because Dire Wolf pack tactics is not going to be very useful because you're going to get advantage to make attacks anyway when you use Tensor's Transformation. Griffin gets multi-attack. Not going to be very useful because we're going to get extra attack as it is. Rhinoceros, they have that charge attack where they do extra damage and then they can attack again. The Saber-Toothed Tiger, they get a pounce attack where they could actually pounce. If they knock you down, they can attack as a bonus action, but that wouldn't preclude them from using that extra attack to get a second attack.
Correct.
The more attacks you can make, the better, because one of the things you get to do with Tensor's Transformation is add 2d12 of force damage per attack. That's a big deal.
So with the spell being active on both of you, both the Rhinoceros and the Saber-Toothed Tiger wind up having the potential to being able to hit 3 times. They do a significant amount of damage. The Rhino, it's going to have a charge ability, so it allows it to do extra damage. So it's almost like hitting 3 times. The saber-tooth tiger has the potential for the pounce, so that could get hit 3 times. So that's an additional 4 or 6 die 12 points of force damage. Incredible.
Everyone's going to be proficient with their strength and con saves. You're going to get 50 temporary hit points. So this means your beast companion can even take a hit as well. They're all really good. And really, it only took 14 levels to make this build. And you're going to get some cool stuff before you get there. But we also have some more ideas where you can really add on to this.
So there are a number of spells that will be, in effect with this that, we're not going to dive into heavily. But, we'll make a mention so that you can be like, all right, these are the checklists. So we looked at, all of the magical secrets that a lore bard gets. And we tried to say, okay, let's knock off these or check off these lists to be able to figure out what we would choose if we were going to do this as a full character build.
So magical secrets, 6th level is when you first get them as a lore bard. And we're going to start leading up to the things we want for later. From the wizard list, we're going to grab mirror image. This spell doesn't last a long time, but it lasts a combat. And as long as you cast it before you cast Tensor's Transformation, it'll be in effect because it's not a concentration spell. So that's awesome. And then the other spell is...
From our cleric list, we're going to choose Aid, which is another, long-lasting spell and doesn't have concentration. It doesn't give you temporary hit points, so it will stack with Tensor's Transformation because it just increases your maximum.
Yes, so both of those are going to be a great combination. When you cast Mirror Image on yourself, as long as you're mounted when you do it, the mount gets it automatically. And as for Aid, you would just include your mount in one of the 3 people that you can give that to.
So next we move to our 10th level magical secrets. Here we're going to go again off of the cleric list, and we're going to take Death Ward. Super helpful for this particular combination. And, then this is where we officially choose the Fine Greater Steed off of the Paladin's list.
Yeah, one of the reasons why we like Death Ward is because it's a twofer. When you cast it on yourself, if you're mounted, your mount's going to get it as well. So it's one of those things where if it would have dropped you or your mount, you get to not ignore that effect, but you'll still be up with 1 hit point and you're still in the fight.
Talking about still being in the fight, you ever wonder what would happen if 5 monsters move into a castle and made it their lair?
Wonder no more, Ted. We All Live in a Castle is a webcomic where we're going to explore just that.
You can head on down to the description and find a link over to nerdarchy.com and that particular webcomic.
So 14th level, we're going to finish off our magical secrets and kind of like the keystone to this build, which is you're going to get the Tensor's Transformation. But we're also going to take something else, which is going to be a lot of fun to wreak havoc upon our enemies.
And that's going to be Crown of Stars?
That is going to be Crown of Stars. The cool thing about Crown of Stars is it lasts a long time. And once you have it up, as a bonus action, you basically get to send off these little mini fireballs to damage your enemies as a bonus action. So, so now we're attacking, twice around with that extra force damage. And as a bonus action, we can send off these little explosions at our enemies.
You've got, this killer combo as you're riding your rhinoceros or saber-tooth tiger into the fray. Fighting however you decide. We won't be casting spells because you've been Tensor transformed, but you'll be whacking them with whatever it is that you got, doing an incredible amount of damage. Meanwhile, you've got all these different images of you riding this thing. It's incredible, but I think there's still a little more we got going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we haven't even delved into the Bard's list yet, and there's definitely some spells that we can use there from both lower levels and higher levels. So we can keep kind of like compounding this build. So far, let's tally it up. How many spells do we have on us and our mount while we're in battle?
All right, so we've got Aid, Death Ward, Tensor's Transformation, Crown of Stars,
Mirror Image,
and we have the Fine Greater Steed, which that's what made the thing. So five active spells.
5 active spells, and we think we can add at least 3 more. And the great thing is you just have to mix and match and see, but our durations are everything from a minute to, 24 hours. So you can definitely do it. So there's a 4th level Bard spell that we can slap on there, and it lasts a little while. So as long as something's coming up, you can use it.
And that's going to be freedom of movement. I mean, how great it is to, ignore the grappled condition, ignore, difficult terrain, ignore things that are going to, stop you from moving. It's great.
It's gonna free you up to wreak the havoc on the battlefield you really want to let loose.
So what else do we have going on?
All right, next level spell is going to be a really high one. We're going to go all the way up to 8th level, and that's Mind Blank.
8th level, we're starting to, really dive into that higher tier abilities. So what's Mind Blank going to do for us?
Mind Blank is great. It's going to make you immune to psychic damage. It's going to make you immune to being charmed. Your thoughts are not going to be able to be read. And again, as long as you're sitting on your mount when you cast it, which it lasts all day, your mount gets the spell as well. The same thing with freedom of movement.
It even counteracts the effects of Wish with those particular abilities. So that's pretty potent.
It's strong. It's definitely strong. And lastly, we have a 9th level spell.
All right, and here we're going to look at Foresight.
Foresight is amazing.
Well, it is a 9th level spell, so I would really expect it to be amazing.
You're not going to benefit from the advantage to make attacks that you get from Tensor's transformation, but that's okay because all of your ability checks and your saving throws you're getting advantage on. The spell lasts 8 hours. Not only that, your enemies are all at disadvantage to hit you. Again, sitting on your mount when you cast it, the mount also gets it for 8 hours. Yeah, you're just going to be a monstrous killer duo on the battlefield.
So you really have the ability to put this amazing concoction into the battlefield and just be like, yep, I just won.
So what do you think? That's our idea for a killer combo to add into the game. Let us know in the comments below. Tell us, killer combos you've used in the past. And if you want us to continue with this series and come up with some more killer combos and overpowered combinations for your 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game. But before we go, I want to invite you to join Nerdarchy the Adventuring Party over on Patreon. Hey, Ted, what can I expect over there?
We're creating 5th edition content every month for both DMs and players alike that you can drop right into your D&D game.
But that's not all. Every month we have monthly giveaways, and our patrons are automatically entered.
But wait, there's more. Every week we're doing a live hangout with our patrons, and there's still more beyond that.
Quest down to the description where you find that link to Patreon. Join the Nerdarchy Adventuring Party. And until next time,
stay nerdy.